What are you doing?
Well, remember if this was like the old black and white movies and the train was coming for you? I'm waiting for the railroad to come.
Oh, you're like 40 years too late, sweetie.
Oh. In 1974, Walt Disney created a piece of history out here at Fort Wilderness Campground at the Walt Disney World Resort. Today, we're gonna go on an adventure that rocks. All aboard! As we go and look to find that piece of history behind me. Fort Wilderness, if you haven't been, it is a huge, massive campground out here at the Walt Disney World Resort. To get guests around back in 1974, they had a great idea. Create your own railroad system. They put the track down, they brought the engine in. It could only hold 90 passengers at that time, and it only lasted 6 years, unfortunately. They had a lot of operational issues with it. With this being soil and clay for the ground, and just the whole operation, the engine wasn't that big, constantly needed refilled. At the end, they decided not to let the train run again. But check it out, here we are 40 years later on the train track. It's still here. I still can't believe that we found this piece of history. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk as far as we can that we're allowed to show you the history of the Walt Disney Railroad at Fort Wilderness Campground. Where to find this piece of Disney history at, you ask? When you arrive at Fort Wilderness, they are going to have you park up front. Get on a bus, aim for the 700, 800 block of sites. We started behind site 809, kept walking till we found it. So anywhere between 7 and 800, you are going to score your own find of Disney history. Whatever happened to the train and cars that ran across these tracks? No one really knows. However, I actually saw one of the cars in 1996 and didn't even know I was looking at it. It was one of the ticket booths at the old Pleasure Island. Another car was for years a piece of decoration out at Typhoon Lagoon. So every now and then, a little piece of history just gets props right back up with a redesign, repaint job, and it's just cool to see Disney repurpose items like that. So I moved purposely some of the brush alongside because I just wanted to show the width and thickness that these railroad ties were out here. And that, you know, helps kind of give an idea of why they just haven't been pulled up. I mean, they're deep, deep into the earth. And just a great find out here. So once again, to find the old railroad system, it is right in between 700 and 800. Right down here. We heard to look behind the dog park around the 300 loop to find part of what they call a railroad truss, or in the comments below, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but basically it's a striped structure on where the train track would go over water. I couldn't find it. Sandy found it. I was standing on top of it, and she pointed it out. But here's a piece. Now, is this part of it, or is this part of an old fence from Fort Wilderness? If you recognize it, put it in the comments down below. But let's come look over where I was standing. I'm standing here, looking that way, as Sandy looks right over my shoulder, and you can clearly see
Oh, careful.
a cement structure with the indent in it on where they would have laid those train tracks to let the train go right over the water. A great find, and thumbs up for Sandy for finding it, because I could have been out here for 20 more minutes looking for this. The tracks can be found all over on both sides of Fort Wilderness. As you can see, we purposely wanted to mark the sign where we spot another marking of the railroad tracks going down. We hope you enjoyed our look at the piece of Walt Disney World Resort history we found. Those train tracks were awesome. I'm so happy to see a piece of history from 1974 still out there at the fort. Make each and every day a magical adventure that rocks. See you real soon.